Thank you for tuning into another episode of Take 10 on Tuesdays with the Tennessee Tribune. I'm Jason Luntz. Today I invited a special friend of mine that's doing some amazing things right here in Nashville. You know how excited I get about small business owners growing their brand. I'm with Dr. Janet Walsh of TT & Company. How you doing today?
Great. How are you? I'm so happy to be here.
No, I've been trying to get her locked down for a while, and I finally did it. And trust me, this is an episode you're going to be very interested in.
Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome. So now, TT & Company, I know that your official title is teologist.
Mm-hmm.
So exactly what is a teologist and what does TT & Company do?
Okay, so TT & Company is a tea company, and we specialize in all things tea, including tea education, custom tea blends, and also tea parties, and a wide variety of things that sort of fall beneath the surface with that.
Okay, so tea parties, tea education, and custom blends.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about tea education first because I'm sure the other ones sound a little understandable, but tea education, is tea really that big of a deal? I need to learn about it?
Sure. Tea really is a big deal. I like to say that tea really is the art of preparation, patience, and presence.
Yes.
And as we look at tea in all of those ways and looking at tea education, I actually produce tea workshops that help people understand tea sort of as, if you will, this leaf for life. And so, yes, the customary things about blending tea, correct tea temperature, teas to use for certain health ailments, tea for energy, but also sort of tea as a technique to help us become, much more amicable. And so that tea for conflict resolution. I believe that you get two people in conflict at a table, you sit with tea, you sort of even help them go through the process of drinking tea, which is really just sitting, sipping, and savoring something very natural, something directly from nature. And it really helps enhance those areas. Sipping, and savoring. Yes.
Okay, so the process of drinking tea correctly, I guess it's so much that you have to put into it that whatever you're angry about, it's going to kind of dissolve, right?
It is, but it's really, really simple. We teach a few things about tea etiquette, such as, the pinky finger never goes up. It's always just index finger in, fingers down. But in terms of preparing for tea, we suggest spring water. Most people don't live near running springs, so they can't do that. But simple things such as not using microwave water for tea. That sort of is reminding people to slow down and actually take the time to drink tea. Also, using the right steeping times for tea. So white tea, green tea, oolong tea, and even herbal tea, there is a temperature for each one of those. And so there really isn't a one-size-fit-all pot of water, which is the same way with life.
So wait, you're saying, okay, so when I make tea at home sometimes, I use different teas. So green tea will be at a different temperature than Earl Grey tea, for example? Like they should be different temperatures?
Yes, they should. And so I, of course, could spend hours talking about it. So you start from white tea to green tea, oolong tea, and black tea. They each require different temperatures and also different steeping times. Just as we deal with people, there are people with quiet personalities, people that require a little bit more. And so looking at the range of teas, some teas require hotter water. And as you move from tea, which is white just off the leaf, around to the black tea, it does require more steeping and also hotter water, and it will maintain those higher temperatures.
Okay, so now I see why your company has the tea education aspect. So this is something that people pay for to learn.
Yes, they do. It has been especially well received in corporate events, corporations, group building, team building, church organizations, because while I'm really talking about tea it always is under the backdrop of relationships or sitting and society and community. And so it's a great way to sort of change the world, but you're using tea as sort of not the backdrop, but the front drop to open up possibilities in a lot of areas.
Wow, that's great. Okay. And I guess that makes sense because a lot of societies, tea plays a major part, like Great Britain and a lot of Asian countries. Am I right?
Yes, and even in Nashville, my godmother, who's 92, she always talks about when she and some of her friends on Saturday mornings, they would all get together on Saturdays to have tea. It was a time for expression, it was a time for sharing, but also a time to release themselves of the cares, sometimes the happiness and the sadness of the week. And so in Nashville, tea was also very big, as it was just in the Southeast and in America as well.
Man, that's great. Wow. So the tea education part that's phenomenal right there. I just learned some really cool stuff. Now, the tea parties. Now, so that's event planning of a sense?
Well, it is event planning because it is really this sort of elaborate sort of tea. Last sort of a year did about 60 tea parties, ranging from the standard small living room from about 6 to 7 people to some tea parties that had several hundred. And so sort of going through the process, there is a tea pre-planning guide that I prepared and sort of perfected over time to help people be concerned. You know, what linen will we use? What teaware will we use? What kinds of people will be invited? Certainly, if it's a tea party and there are family members in Discord, we want to make sure that the seating is arranged appropriately so that the space will be conducive to perhaps some reconciliation. And so all those kinds of things, the food, work with great caterers to sort of make it all. And so if tea really is the art of preparation, patience, and presence, the preparing for the actual event itself is equally important.
Oh man, that's wow. So I guess maybe as a guy I didn't really realize how much goes into tea, but it sounds like very interesting. Now, at these tea parties that people hire you to put on, do you do some of the education aspects at those? Certainly I do.
It's actually very exciting. And I'll just say something, guys really love tea.
Yeah,
I said again, guys really love tea. Guys love tea parties too. I have been fortunate to take participation, did some teach-ins, get it? Teach-ins, yes. With high school boys at Pearl Cone High School. We went through the entire process from getting the leaves to bagging it, doing those kinds of things to blending, and they loved it. And also have had tea parties for other males, and they actually are much more fun than some of the other ones.
So they had a good time.
Yes, they did.
Oh man, that's great.
That I have been to. And so then at the tea parties, often there is tea education. There's tea tastings, and usually we'll serve tea, and included I provide probably options for over 270 different teas. And so based on the tea party, what the hostess wants and what the venue is, I will prepare teas based on that. So again, no one tea fits all tea parties.
Oh, this is great. This is great. Well, so we got tea education, tea parties. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. Before I go into the other stuff, the custom blends, I definitely want to hear about that. I think I want to backtrack a little bit. And can you tell us a little bit how you started TT and Company?
That is really almost serendipity, but I am going to have to go all the way back to Memphis. My great-grandmother, who always served tea and toast. She, of course, was not from Great Britain, but it was definitely a staple in the house. That was passed down to my mom, who made us tea. If you stumped your tea, sort of hot tea at that time, really, which only included hot water, honey, and lemon, it helped you. For heartbreaks, if some girl had broken any of my brother's heart, we had tea, headache tea. And so tea sort of became this backdrop for wellness. I mean, just solving all of that. And so that just happened, also as a part of family. Part of what my mother did was often visit people and sit with people. And so I sort of inherited that. And when people were sick and still are sick or bereaved, just taking a hot beverage to calm some of the natural emotions that accompany loss. So did that. About 15 years ago, started making a fruit tea, which over the years, it's just been an incredible sort of launching pad for TT and Company. So making it for wedding receptions, baby showers, from 25 people to 600 people did that. And then in between sort of this life journey and wanting to find or follow tea from the tea plantations and farms to the actual cups that I would serve. And so trips to China and India and South America.
You took these trips?
I did, yes.
Because the tea was the reason?
It was a part of my tea journey, yes.
Wow.
And so it really helped me, because what I understood is even in these different countries and there were even areas of affluence, but then also in despair, people would still hold on to hope. And they held on to hope with these teacups or these tattered little things. And you would see in South America, a small young child, with clothes tattered, but still just holding on to something. And it was often a teacup or an elderly person in India or China whom had certainly spent most of their lives on a tea plantation, even after 90 years working the fields all day, picking leaves. Still at the end of the day, they found solace in a cup of tea.
So that was some inspiration right there.
Oh, it was definitely inspired. And then, so did all of that. And that's sort of how it came to then being able to offer with confidence and sort of knowledge of the various teas that could be served.
When you were doing these journeys and you were learning about tea across the world and within our nation, was the goal at that time to start T&T Company, or that later on you said, you know what, now that I know all that, this was just personal?
It was personal. One, it was personal for about travel. Love to travel, and even in my travel to 48 of the states in the United States, everything was very different, but always interested in how people interact communally. And what became common themes was that it was often at a table, people were sitting and drinking something. And so I found in areas where there seemed to be the most peace and less conflict, people were drinking tea. And in a lot of cases, tea really wasn't my primary focus, but I was always sort of retaining these tea experiences. And I just kept saying, okay, tea, what does this communal meal mean here? Tea. I mean, all these kinds of things. And so all of that came about 2 years ago. A good friend of mine, we were talking and I was sharing like all this stuff. He was like, listen, what are you doing? You've got to go ahead and get this. And so about 2 years ago, I like to say I stopped brewing dirty, and TT and Company was really born after a friend in business who consults with people basically pushed me out the boat, and that's why.
That's great. No, that's great. That sounds awesome. So here you are now, all this experience, education parties. Before I let you go, I just want to tell a little bit about the products you have.
Yes.
So you have the custom blends.
Yes.
So that basically means,
yeah, custom blends, thank you, means blends that have been based on, so after you do tea parties, they're kind of like market research because you get to hear and stay on the pulse of what's going on. I think that people drink tea for 3 reasons. They want to be up, they want to be down, and they want their cores to be happy. And so with those, we sort of blend those with those in mind. Also, seasonally, there are different things in tea concoctions that people will need, so we will offer those based on that. And then there are those teas for people who are just getting into tea. We recommend XT or YT, and so that does. So that's one part of the customization. But companies and corporations and family reunions and all of these events, they want a customized item to share with their customers or to share with people to sort of remember the event. So individual tea favors, we do customize sort of tea bags. And so a tea bag usually with an emblem or logo with the company or the event. But then also we handcrafted, I like to say, in Antioch. Get it? Antioch. Okay, get it.
It's another one.
So hand sewn, and so we take cotton unbleached muslin fabric and actually sew baby onesies for custom tea blends, and we did for Black History Month a tea bag shaped like Africa. So these are reusable bags that they put actually in the hot water to use to do that. Yes.
Oh, you guys got a lot. Okay, yeah. So let's give the website.
The website is tteaandcompany.com. That's TEATEAAND company COMPANY.com.
Okay, so you can go there. You can find about the custom blends that you can have for your own family functions or corporate functions. You can find out about the tea education, the tea parties, or you can just buy some tea, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, before I let you go, you're a business, you're growing. We're in Nashville, the It City. How do you feel about the business environment here as your company continues to grow?
Oh my God, Nashville rocks. I will
Yes.
consistently say that Nashville has been my cup of tea for business. It was through the camaraderie of another business owner who said, okay, this is a great model. You need to go out here and get it in a sense. There was no competition, so nothing but support. My brand has evolved because of the great people of Nashville, people who have needed stuff and have allowed TT and Company to say, oh, I'd like for you to do this because you've done it. But then also realizing that we've not done it before, even putting in the faith and confidence to allow us to do it. And even countless tea parties, a lot of the referrals have been based on word of mouth. Mm-hmm. And Nashville has been a very fertile ground for as a startup business to not only open and start, but also continue to expand my leaf, and it continues to expand daily. Nashville, yes, it is definitely the It City.
It definitely is, and I often meet people or hear people actually start talking about you, and they get all excited. I'm like, "Oh, you talking about Janet?" And they're like, "You know her?" Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely, it is the kind of city your brand can definitely grow through word of mouth.
Right. And Jason Luntz, thank you. Jason Luntz has been an incredible mentor and advisor and consultant. And I am certainly appreciative for the small business assistance that you have given me. And, you know, small business owners starting out is really hard. You work really, really long hours, and you really, really have to stay on it to save money and cut costs, because, you know, the first few years are the most difficult.
Yes.
And even just having an opportunity to talk about tea and being able to be offered or even invited to those places has really given us room to grow.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, and we really appreciate your time today. And one more thing, Dr. Janet Walsh, Chief Tea Officer?
Yes.
Okay, she gave me that one. Chief Tea Officer, I love that.
CTO.
CTO. Well, we definitely appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And once again, you've been tuning into Take 10 on Tuesdays with the Tennessee Tribune. See you next time.